What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Lost Boyz Podcast, episode 3.
We found the first one. It's going to be posted.
You'll see it soon.
Yeah, episode 3.
Today we have sort of a different topic than last time. We actually have some structure today. Today we're talking about gratitude versus happiness.
A magical question to start it off. Do you think you can have happiness without... I'm sorry, do you think you can... No, I had it right? Do you think you have happiness without gratitude?
I promise you, all fucking week, this has been like in my mind and like everybody I've spoke to, like we've been talking about this. First, before we even say anything, pause right now, comment down below. Do you think you can have happiness without gratitude? That is the question, and that is going to be the starting point of this video. But
you go first.
So, upon giving this thought, and like based off of books I read, everything, I believe you cannot have happiness without gratitude. I think although there are two different emotions or two different, things, they are connected and they're correlated. I don't believe you can be happy with life if you're not being grateful for something in that life, let's say.
I agree. I'd say I'm on the same page with that. I think you touched on it perfectly. Like I don't know. I see it your way too. I kind of wish I could try to play devil's advocate on it, but I'm trying to think. I just don't know. Like how could somebody be happy if they're not grateful for something? Because if you're not grateful for anything, like you don't appreciate anything at all, then I just feel like it's just a depressing life. Like what are you living for at that point? Like you don't appreciate the fact that you're even alive. Like nothing like that. Like I find that so depressing. I don't know. I can't live like that.
Yeah.
Maybe there's somebody out there that can. I don't know. I just can't. My brain cannot understand that mindset.
So, I got this example given to me today, right? From somebody who did not agree with this idea. And it was that, suppose somebody passes away and people reach out to you and send condolences, right? She said that you are grateful for the condolences, but you are still sad, right? At the time. Now, that is a devil's advocate point to that, but to which I said, when somebody passes away and, you're mourning, let's say, and somebody reaches out to you, to me, the way I think about it is you're not really grateful in that moment. Because I don't think grateful is you telling yourself you're grateful. Mm-hmm. I think grateful is what are your actions doing.
Yeah.
So, even though you're receiving said, condolences and everything like that, you're not really appreciating it to its fullest extent in that moment. Maybe after the fact, you're like, oh, that was nice of people to reach out to me and so on and so forth. But in that moment, to me, that doesn't count as being grateful.
Yeah. Damn. So this is going to transition perfect into our next segment that we had planned. It's going to jump it a little early, but I just came up with the question now. Do you think people make the mistake of confusing thankfulness and gratitude? Because I think being thankful for something because of a certain situation that put you there is one thing, and I think appreciating something and really taking it for what it is because of what it is it something else. Like in that example, right? That person saying she's grateful for all those people that reached out, but is she really grateful or is she thankful? Like, is she being, I don't know if it makes sense or not, right? Because I could sound like an idiot right now. But this is just the way, I'm thinking of it. Is she just, very thankful that everybody reached out and shared their condolences and it made her feel better? Or is she actually grateful that people are reaching? I don't know. I think it's different. I think of grateful, am I thankful that I'm alive? Of course. But am I grateful for being alive? Well, no, maybe I might say so, but my actions might be different, right? I might be, not healthy, not treating my body right, not taking care of myself, not doing all those things, but then I'm not really grateful for being alive because I'm taking advantage of it. Yeah. I'm taking it for granted, where I could be thankful that I'm alive. Thank you for letting me wake up today. But then I'm going to go eat McDonald's 3 times today.
Yeah, I'm not going to do anything with the day that I was given.
Then I don't, and the way I see it is I don't think you're grateful at that point. You're just thankful.
That's honestly, see, I never even gave that thought, like that, the distinction between the two, like if there is a distinction, because, yeah, no, if you're, so for me, it's what are your actions saying? Because we can say, oh, like you said, thankful to be alive or grateful to be alive, but if you're not living life, or you're not taking care of yourself, or if you're not doing anything with the life, then it's wasted.
Yeah.
It's taken for granted.
Exactly. And then I see it as, then maybe you're not grateful. And I could also sound like this could also sound like dumb as shit to somebody. But I don't know. That's just the way I'm thinking of it now. Like, it just came to me right now. I don't know why, but I just had that thought. And like now I'm like trying to think of other scenarios where like I could make an analogy sound much better. But I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of people that are thankful but not grateful.
See, so to make it make sense for anybody who could potentially be confused, the definition of thankful, the way it's being used right now, is like you're thinking you're grateful. Like in your mind, you're like, yeah, this is cool, right? But it's not changing anything about what you're doing, or it's not.
Yeah, it's just more of a thought versus an action. Where I think the gratefulness is more of an action.
I agree.
How can I think of it? I'm trying to think of something. Give me a second. While you talk, I'll think of something.
All right. So we always say, the lottery is a common example, right? Mm-hmm. Or if I won the lottery, I'd be so grateful, and I'd give it all away, right? But then there's people like Jeffrey Bezos's. Is his full name Jeffrey? Well, Jeff Bezos, his ex-wife.
I've never heard of who you call Jeffrey.
Yeah, I don't know where that just came from. It's thinking of cousin. Jeffrey. What's it called? Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, who inherited a large sum of money, became the richest woman on the planet, and has like donated all of it. Like she's freely. Just saw the other day she gave away like $480 million, and I'm just like, wow, like that's nice.
We take donations.
What's it called? And it's like, that to me is a representation of somebody who might actually be grateful for what they got, because they're using it in a specific way. They're giving it towards. Yeah,
they see a bigger picture. It's not as face value as we think it might be. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to give it the analogy I just tried to come up with now is almost like basically like, let's say somebody's in the military and they get shot in the leg or whatever, and they're about to face amputation, and they're told, oh, you're never going to be able to walk again, right? That moment, like, their life just changed forever. But somehow there's a miracle where they manage to fix it, they come back and they're able to walk again. Mm-hmm. They live life normal. I feel like somebody like that can become, they're not. I feel like somebody like that, and then you have like a David Goggins, right? All right, fuck, I just went all over the place. Let's take David Goggins, for example, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say he was in the military, he got shot, he almost dies, right? And he almost dies. He almost gets amputated. And then through some miracle, the surgery works out to the best way possible, that now he can run freaking 100 miles. Like, I think him running that 100 miles afterwards, this is not like what actually happened to him though. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying an analogy. But I think running that 100 miles and like running every day and working out and all that is an act of gratefulness. Whereas if he just if he got shot or whatever, and then he just kept living life like normal and just walked and is like, oh man, like I'm happy I didn't get my leg taken off. I feel like that's more thankful. Mm-hmm. Whereas the action of like, oh well, now that I have my leg, I'm gonna use every bit of it, because there's other people who don't, and they don't know, and they've never known what it's like to have this. So let me take advantage of what I have and be grateful for it.
It's like,
if that makes sense.
I got what you meant. It also to bounce off of that, the example you gave yesterday with the soldiers and the MRIs.
Yeah.
Like that's another good way of putting it.
I didn't think of that. I was struggling. No, yeah, that is another. That's like, yeah. So the example I came up with yesterday was like, you take soldiers, right, and they're, I don't know, away on. They're doing a tour. Yeah, they're in the field or whatever. The majority, the food they eat there, for the most part, that I'm aware of at least, is fucking. I didn't keep cursing. It's freaking garbage, right? Like, they eat like those MRE packs and everything, and they like always have like stomach issues because it just destroys their stomach and stuff. Mm-hmm. If you take somebody who literally only ate that for 1 year, and then they come back to the civilian life here, Taco Bell is gonna taste like amazing to them because they've only ate like garbage for like the last year. So then they're gonna treat everything like, I don't know, they're gonna see everything in a different way where like you take the kid who always lived in here and never like had to go to fight or nothing, and always had a choice of what they wanted to eat whenever they wanted to eat and stuff. They may be thankful for being able to eat this today, whatever. Whereas this person is, because they didn't have it, they're grateful that they have it. Like they're gonna value it more versus this person.
That much better. It's gonna feel that much better.
I don't know. Yeah.
So this isn't even on our notes for this episode, but this is I think to bounce off of that, I think we can talk about do you think the amount of sadness that somebody has faced equates to the amount of happiness that they can feel or that they can...
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because with this question, like, there's no right or wrong. Like, it's your thought. By the way, comment down below
what
if you think if you think sadness correlates to how much happiness you can feel. Because there are people who... I feel like we've all met somebody who's been through, like, bad shit in their life. And are somehow the happiest people ever. Granted, they might be an anomaly, you know, they might have like more mental toughness than other people, but it goes back to like the soldier who's eating the MRE versus coming home and eating at a really nice restaurant or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna taste that much better. It's gonna mean that much more, as opposed to somebody like me who's never had to eat something like that. Yeah. So I can just eat. You know.
Yeah, and you're like thankful, like, oh, that was a good meal.
Like that was good, but it's like it's not changing my soul. Like it's not fulfilling my soul.
Damn. So what was the question again?
So is the amount of sadness you face in life, does that correlate to how much happiness you can feel?
Damn, I don't know. I gotta think about that one, cause like, I don't know. It could go either way, cause like, damn. What do you think?
I think it does. Like, I think, and to base where my belief comes from is, we're by nature creatures of suffering. Like, our brains are wired to understand suffering. Like, that's why, you know, we operate a certain way when we're hungry and, you know, we're very calculated, is because we're anticipating suffering, right? So now, take the negatives that happen in life, you know, the traumatic shit that we face and what we go through. Now take that, and once you get through that, once you move past, you start to enjoy things a little more. Like, somebody who's never had friends, right? Suddenly, you know, they build themselves up, they start having friends. After years of probably being insecure about that, they're going to enjoy their friends a little more. They're going to enjoy that food a little more after having to eat
enjoy the
something
company
like that.
More, all that. Yeah.
Somebody who's probably never been able to walk or have always had problems and can finally walk, guess what? It's going to mean that much more. Like, it's a heightened sense of happiness.
Yeah, I guess I see that point. That makes sense. I agree with that too. I think... Yeah, because if the less you have of something, then the more you get of it. Then like you kind of get that. Like, if you've always had it, then like it doesn't mean as much anymore. Like, it doesn't excite you the same way versus if you never had it. So I definitely see that point. But yeah, I think it still go both ways. Like, there can be exceptions to the rule, where like there are some people who have had it all, and like can still enjoy that same amount of happiness. But yeah, I would definitely. I think I would agree with that. That the people that are more sad, when they experience something that makes them happy, the feeling of happiness can be greater for the most part. And generally speaking, to most things. Like, they have more of it versus the other person. But I still think it could go both ways. I don't know. I see your point, though. I agree with it. I don't think it's faulty.
Now, the common thing is, like, people chasing happiness, right? And... Happiness is an interesting thing, because you never experience the same happiness twice.
Yep.
Like, that moment when you're like on vacation, right? Or on the beach. For example, for me, I had a moment of pure happiness when we were in Aruba after, like, I forgot which one of the clubs we went to, right? But we were just on the beach at nighttime. There was a moment of just pure happiness there. But that's different from the moment of pure happiness, playing baseball with Ace or something like that, right? Like, there's different kinds of happiness.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people that are chasing an idea of happiness that doesn't actually exist, which is causing them to not be grateful for what they have, thus moving that happiness even further.
I agree. I 100% agree. I think people find more sadness in chasing happiness. Like, by only trying to be happy, you actually make yourself more sad. Versus if you just try to find a balance, like a level of peace, that's when you really find like that actual happiness. But because I don't know, for me, for example, right? I'm not somebody who gets sad like often. Like, it's very rare for me to like genuinely be sad and generally be sad for like more than 3 hours. Like, I've always lived my life like on a plane like this, like right here, like level field. And occasionally, I have my spikes where I go up happy and I have my spikes where I go down sad, but they never last too long, and I just find my way back here to the middle. And I just find like I'm living at peace the whole time. I think for me, I can only speak from my perspective, right? Because again, I'm not in everybody else's head, so I don't know what their thought process is, what they're going through in their situations, things like that. But I think living a life where you find like a middle ground, like a healthy balance of the two, because you're going to experience the two regardless of what you do in life. No matter what, you're always going to experience both. Like, we're human. That's what makes us human, the fact that we can feel emotion and things like that. I think being able to find the healthy balance of it, though, and kind of live the majority of your life at it, will actually equate to that sense of feeling of happiness. But it's not really happiness. I think the idea of being happy is what's making people more sad. Like, I don't know. I think it's counterintuitive to chase it. It's like, I'm going to try to be sad. It's like, well, then eventually, actually, no, that was a bad example. I take that back. You didn't hear that.
So, what you were saying reminded me of something that I heard in, one of my career classes, right? The difference between happiness and joy, right? And how there are moments of pure joy, and you can feel joy. Maybe not while you're on vacation or whatever, but you can feel joy in your day-to-day life. Like, if you find something that, maybe something that's just, a parent playing with their kid might actually fill them with joy, even if something negative is going on in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah.
And the difference between joy and happiness is you don't pick what brings joy to your life. You just you end up finding something that I actually really enjoy this.
Yeah.
While happiness is something like you work towards, like it's more up here.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just think chasing happiness is a very bad mindset. I think you should be trying to find peace instead. And not so much chasing it, but just trying to work on the things you need to work on so that you can feel better, I guess. But thinking like, if I'm not happy, then I'm always going to, because I don't feel happy, I'm always going to be sad. Things like that. I think that's a very bad way to think about things and go about your life.
You're living in the extremes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have two extremes. The best place you want to be is in the middle. You have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But you don't want to be too much of one or too much of the other. I don't know. I wish I had a better way of explaining it, or like a better answer to it, or at least my answer to it. But I don't know. I just think it's a really like bad mindset. And I think right, I'm not 100% sure, but I think a lot of people have that mindset. And I think that's why so many people are actually sad, because they feel like if they're not happy, then like if they can't have 1 ounce of happiness, then that's it, my life sucks. And I was like, no, it's not like that. Like, people feel happy too. Like, the people you think that are always happy, they're not always happy. They get sad too.
Yeah. But
they just know, some of them may know how to balance it, or some of them know when to exploit it and when not to. Things like that.
They're making this connection right now. That's probably why so many people suffer from depression, right?
Yeah. No, I'm only laughing because I know his stance on it.
So when you're chasing the extremes are never good. When you really look at just like kind of, I want to say it's like a law of nature. Everything that goes up must come down, and everything that goes down eventually like balances out, comes back up, right? So if you live your life chasing the highs, right, constantly, you know, in need of going on vacation, right, which I'm guilty of, like constantly needing to travel or constantly needing to drink or party or go out or spend money, guess what? You're going to live your life at these highs, but what happens? You know, you end up going broke, or your self-esteem takes a hit, because a lot of people who constantly party, I feel like, tend to have lower self-esteems. And it's the people that, you know, I'll go out when I can, tend to be the more stable. They're not breaking through these, you know, manic or depressed states. And right now, there's a big issue of needing to experience that extreme rather than, you know, all right, this is my baseline, right? You know, I'm not a millionaire, right? And I'm not broke and depressed, but, you know, I'm, let's just say, a regular guy, right? Mm-hmm. But you can work on yourself here and build your way up. That to me is like, yeah, that's what makes sense, as opposed to let me try to, you know, go party and go do all this without having built myself up. Guess what? You're just going to crash, and now you're going to go down to the,
because you
the
build
super low.
Yeah, you build no foundation.
There you go.
So,
that's the fucking...
Yeah, foundation, yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I think anything you abuse is never good for you. So, like, if you abuse that sense of euphoria and, like, happiness, like you said, what goes up must come down. It's only a matter of time. Well, one, you abuse it too much that you don't feel the same way about it, and then you fall down 10 times harder. And then the same thing goes with the other extreme. If you abuse, like, the sadness, and it sounds bad using the word abuse, I just don't know a better word to use. Mm-hmm. But, like, if you constantly live in that sad lifestyle without even trying to, like, get to a better place, then you only fall deeper and deeper and deeper. Like, I don't know. I think anything, and that goes with anything in life too, like anything you abuse is never good for you. That's why, like, people in the gym take breaks. That's why people who, like, if you drink too much, you will negatively affect your body, whether it's right now or down the line. Mm-hmm. It's gonna happen. You know, if you smoke too much, you no longer have the benefits of marijuana, because now you're just polluting your lungs and it's no longer beneficial for you. Now you're just hurting your body more than doing good for it, but you think you're doing good. But you're not. You're just hurting yourself. Like, anything you abuse will never be good. It's always a balance. You got to find your balance with everything.
That's, I can't remember who said it, but it's like, that's the dangerous thing about chasing that. I like the word you use, like that euphoric kind of state, because you can chase things that are going to make you feel that euphoric state, right? Yeah. What is that going to be? All right, let's say it's partying. Well, and guess what? You know, every time you do it, it's gonna lower. So you're gonna need more. Yeah. So guess what? Maybe now you're gonna drink, and after drinking, you're gonna smoke too. And after smoking, guess what? That might not be enough. So you're gonna fucking, like. And these are also extreme examples, but you're gonna keep adding to it to keep up with that euphoric state, and then that's what causes the flip side, the crash. And not saying this happens for everybody, or this is like a rule of society. That's not the case. It's just there is downsides of living in either extreme. Like, people who want to be overly pessimistic. Yeah. That's the opposite extreme.
Yeah. I don't understand those people. I don't understand those people. They just, like, wake up and just smell the world and they're just angry. I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah. Don't be that person.
Yeah, no, like, at the end of the day, it's up to you to find your joy and your peace. You can't control everything in the world, right? Yeah. But if you can make peace with shit that is out of your control, like, I'm not 6 foot, right? Yeah. Or, you know, it is what it is. Like, I'm cool, I'm chilling, right? Whatever, I'm chilling my 5'9.5", right? Yeah. So, like, you make peace with that, then you're good. You can move past it, as opposed to trying to constantly absorb everything that's out of your control. Like,
yeah, I think that's the big issue with a lot of people too. they get sad or angry, or they have these negative emotions about a lot of things that they can't control. Like, if you really just focus on the things you can control and just let the things you can't control just do what it's got to do, you will live a much more peaceful life.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you know, oh, if I don't know, if I go do this and this happens, like, oh, man, like, and you start stressing about, oh, man, this, but in reality, you have no control over the situation, whether you do it or you don't. It can still happen. It's like, why stress? Like, it is what it is. Like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
If I could control the outcome of it, then yeah, I want to control the outcome of it. But there's just some things in life you just can't. You just got to take it for what it is.
Shout out to the subtle art of not giving a fuck, which you mentioned before, the point where it's like chasing a positive experience is a negative experience, but accepting a negative experience is a positive experience.
Yep.
And I remember once I read those words.
That one more time. That might have went over a couple people's heads.
Listen to this. Chasing a positive experience is a negative experience, but accepting a negative experience is a positive experience. Like, when I read those words, I was like, wait a minute. I remember I was at the gym and I was listening to it. I didn't even read it. I was listening to the book, and I stopped my set and I rewinded. I was like, I had to hear this again. Because you think about it, it's like, once I'm no longer stressed about, problem X, guess what? I can fucking move past it.
Yep.
And then that's a weight that's lifted on your shoulder until you get to the next roadblock. Any issue that life puts in front of you, there has to be that, can I control this? What can I change about this? Oh, I can't change it? All right, cool. Then I'm not going to stress it.
Yep.
I can change it. Like, if it's a problem, what everybody stresses, right? Finance is a common thing for people to stress, right? Look at your finances. If it's something that's in your control, like, man, I'm broke every day, but I'm spending, all my paychecks on food, that's something you can control. You can make that change. Maybe I can get smarter, meal prep or whatever it is. Versus something like, oh man, I'm struggling because I only have one leg, right? That's a horrible example, but that's not something like you can control. So then what do? You got to move past it. Wow, I really don't like that I use that example. Well, fuck it.
But no, the point you're trying to make is valid though. Like, if you focus on the things you can't control, you only get a negative experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, if you have a positive action towards a negative experience, you get a positive result. If you have a negative action, I think I just said it backwards. I don't know. I'm confused. Say it again.
So, if you are chasing that positive, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Rather as if it's like, something negative is happening and you just accept it for what it is and allow yourself to move past it, that creates a positive experience.
Yeah. And that can be, and like, it can be taken literal, but also like not too literal, because like you said, like, if you can control the outcome, then control it. Mm-hmm. But if you have no control, then that's when you accept it for what it is. But if you have the possibility to control it, even if and there's a lot of things where people think they can't control, but they really can. They just don't want to control it. Like, if you have the power to change something, and it'll benefit you, then again, as long as you're not like if, depending on the circumstance, right? Like, if you're gonna hurt people maliciously, then like, don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
But if it's just like out of it's something for you, and you can change that, then change it. Like, that's having a negative experience and doing something positive towards it. That's gonna create a positive experience. Whereas if you have something that happens and it's bad, but there's really nothing you could have ever done about it, and there's nothing you could do about it, then just accept it for what it is. Understand why it happened, and say, okay, I'm gonna move on, and let me see what maybe I could do differently so I can avoid that situation the next time. Mm-hmm. And then just move on that way. That's why I always use the term, I never lose. Like, I joke a lot with it, but I always say I can never lose. Like, I've never lost in my life. I either win or, oh, fuck. The camera died. I had to turn it back on. Anyways. But yeah, that's why I say you can, like, that's why I've always said I can never lose. Like, I can only win or learn. because either I win, and if I do so-called lose, well, then what's the lesson I took out of it? How can I be better from it? And in that case, then I learned. And if I learned something from it, then it made me better, and now it made me be able to avoid that situation again. Well, then I won because I just defeated that situation. I don't let it allow it to reoccur. So now I still win at the end of the day. Like, if I can't lose, like if you have that mindset, you will never lose. Like, losing is not something like you would just be like, oh, I lost. Like, I accept it. It is what it is. Like, having a shitty situation happen, just be like, oh, well, it's because my life is always shitty. Like, it was meant to happen because my life sucks. Well, then the shitty stuff is gonna keep happening. But if you look at it from like an objective perspective, and you're like, okay, why did this happen? What could I have done to not make this happen? And if there's something that you could have done, what was it? Okay, now I know for the next time. If I see the situation come up again, here's what I'm gonna do to avoid that situation so it doesn't happen again. Whereas like a lot of people would just be like, oh, this happened to me. That's it.
Dude.
I don't know.
You just hit the nail on the head on something super fucking. This little piece of advice, I promise you, changed my fucking life. Like, bar none. Like, this is gonna be a gem, and it's from Jordan Peterson. Which a lot of the shit that I'm gonna say is from Jordan Peterson, right? Where he's at. This is an extreme way to think about things, but it's what works for me. It's not gonna work for everybody. Like, it might not work for you, but this is the way I like to look at things, right? Based off of what you just said, right? I like to look at everything as everything is my fault. If things went wrong, it's because I fucked up. If things went good, it's because I did something good, right? Or if somebody helped me, it's because I put myself in the position to receive that help, right?
Yeah.
Like you mentioned earlier, I put myself in the position to take advantage of that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
I choose to think of things that way because it's like that. All right, if something doesn't go the way I planned, right? I have to analyze it and be like, damn, I fucked this up. Where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong? All right, I miscalculated this, or I looked at this the wrong way, or I didn't really understand this the way I thought I did, right?
Yeah.
And in that, it turns all of the, like, honestly, all of the negative shit that I've been through, let's say the last, like, 2.5 years, 3 years since I first, like, saw the clip and him speaking about this, it's made it almost enjoyable because now no matter what I face, everything I have faced, I feel like I've grown from. I didn't take the loss. I learned from it. And that to me is like,
win.
Yeah, like, and that's honestly the best win because you don't learn when things are good.
Yep.
Like you're not going to grow when things are good. You grow when you're forced to grow, when it's like, oh fuck. Yeah. I messed up.
When shit hits the fan and you got to figure it out, that's when you learn. Because if you always did it, then you do it, but you don't know why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had to learn to do it, then you really know why. You understand it. It's like, it's different. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I was going to go with that. But yeah, anyways, actually, I do know where I'm going to go with that. I think another big issue that kind of ties into it is that people give a fuck about too much.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times the things they choose to care about too much about is always things like that they can't control. They always focus on the things they can't control versus they can. Like, a lot of people care about the wrong things.
Agreed.
Like, it's not to say don't care about nothing, but choose what you're going to care about. Like, be selective with the energy you're going to use for that. You know, like, there's some things that, like, you can choose to care about. It's like, okay, I care about, like, I give a fuck about this. I'm going to do what I got to do for it. And there's other things you could look at and just be like, it is what it is, and I'm going to move past it, and that's it. And I'm just keep it pushing. But I think people get caught up in trying to care about everything, and that messes them up.
Agreed. There's a way of looking at things a certain way where you can divvy it up, right? You have only so much energy, right, that you can put towards, you know, your relationship, your goals, your job, your finances, you know, your happiness, your solitude. Like, there's only a certain amount of energy and so much time in the day that you can put towards the things that are going to bring you that peace and happiness.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're wasting them all on what so-and-so said or what's happening in this corner of the world or not taking care of yourself, where you spend your energy is going to dictate your future, so to say. If you're not putting your energy towards the things that are going to bring you the outcome that you want, you're going to, there's consequences for that.
Yeah.
That's like, I'll use a personal example. When I get distracted from my goals and then I think about it, it's like, damn, I traveled, I did X, Y, and Z, but I didn't really make progress in this area of where I wanted to make progress in. Guess what? That's living in a consequence for that. Take accountability for it. All right, now I know I have to make sure I get X, Y, and Z done first before I can do.
I think that ties into everything. One, taking the lesson, so you learn from it, so you don't do it again. You cared about something that you can control, and then you had positive reinforcement from it. Where like now you understand it, you know it, and now you know that you're not gonna make the same mistake because you're aware now. Whereas like if you just did it, you're like, oh man, yeah, I should have, and then you just do it again, like it's not doing nothing for you. And I'll say the same thing for me, like quarantine, that was like a huge opportunity that I slept on. And like in the beginning, when I first realized it, I dwelled on it for a little bit, but then I quickly realized, like, you know what? I'm actually not upset about it because, well, what came out of it was like, yeah, I made a lot of memories. I traveled a lot. I experienced new things and I did new things, and I was very like, I enjoyed a lot of my life throughout that, like afterwards and throughout that period and stuff. However, looking back, would I have done things differently? Absolutely. But had I never gone through that and did those exact things, I wouldn't be in the mind space I'm at now. Where now I understand and I'm at a way different place, and I think a far greater place than I would have been if I just like somehow got lucky through that and got to the same, like I would, the level wouldn't match up. Like I think I needed to experience that for me to get to where I'm at now. Like without that, I don't have this mindset, and we probably don't even have this podcast. None of that. But it all stemmed from there. So I don't regret my decisions. Would I have done things differently? Yes. But I think it happened for a reason. And I took the lesson from that and I moved on. And then, so that's something I saw, I gave a little bit of fuck about, took the lesson from it, and then that's it. I kept it moving and I said, okay, I got the lesson. Now I'm just going to apply it to the rest of my life. I'm not going to keep dwelling. Like every time something goes bad, I'm not going to be like, damn, man. But if like 2 years ago I just did this, and this, I wouldn't have experienced this. It's like, no, 2 years ago I did this and this. So now in the future I can never experience it again. Now what I do from the future is on me, because I know what I need to do. So if I don't do it, that's on me. There's no one else to blame. At least before, I didn't know no better. No one told me otherwise. I wasn't aware. Now that I'm aware, now it's 100% my fault if I fuck up. Before it wasn't. Now it is.
Listen, a mistake made more than once is a choice.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% true. A mistake made more than once is a choice.
And it's like, even with what you were saying, I think you practice what I was saying before without even realizing, because it's like there's that level of self-awareness, there's that level of accountability where it's like, I made these decisions. Yeah. Now let me see where I went wrong, why I went wrong. All right. Now you grew from that, put you in the mind space that you're in today. Yep.
And that's another issue too that I think a lot of people struggle with, at least people young like us, is taking accountability.
Oh yeah.
Like when you're wrong, you're wrong. That's it. Just admit it. I think trying to prove how you're not wrong is more detrimental to you than if you just said, you know what? Actually, after seeing all sides of it, seeing all perspectives and giving it full thought, actually I am wrong. But here's what I'm going to do so that next time I don't be wrong again, you know? But like, understand that and accept that, yeah, I was wrong. Like, take the accountability for being wrong. Like, don't just try to like push it on somebody else or try to, so that you always look perfect. No one's perfect. Like, you're never going to be perfect. You're not perfect. No one's perfect. Everybody has the person you think in your head is perfect is not perfect. And in their head, they don't believe they're perfect.
Oh yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't believe you're not perfect, right? You want to think good. You want to think good of yourself too. You want to be confident, things like that. But understand that not everything is going to go 100% right ever.
It's true.
Even when things are going right, there's still some things that could have gone better.
It's so true. And it's funny, I actually wanted to make a TikTok about that, because I fucked up at work, right? I messed something up, and when it was time to address that, I was just like, no, yeah, like, I did that, like, I messed up, like, this is what I did wrong or whatever. And when I was sending the message to the managers, and I was saying, like, you know what, yeah, like, you know, that was on me, like, my bad, like, yeah. I realized something. I was like, when you make a mistake and you just own up to it, it's so much better. Like,
yeah.
Not that it was like, this is a eureka moment. Oh shit, I shouldn't be lying about a mistake. No, but it was just like, I was living an example of it. Whereas like, owning up to a mistake and understanding the mistake and correcting it is just, even if it's in like, you know, people see your mistake and you're going to be reprimanded for it, whatever it is, that's so much better than like, you know, all right, I messed up. Let me be sneaky about it, or let me try to cover it up, because the amount of energy you have to put into covering something up or lying is, you don't understand how much of a toll that actually takes.
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, I think it's more detrimental to yourself than anything. Like, at least, even if it's something that's like embarrassing or whatever, just the fact that you just said, you know what, yeah, it was me, I did it, or whatever, the fact that you took the accountability and didn't deny or try to like play it down, you just said, no, I did it, it is what it is. Like, I think in the long run, people will respect you more than like going forward because of that. Like if somebody does something wrong and then like they try to be sneaky about it or tell like little white lies or whatever, and then you find out, at least for me, I find out that they were lying, like I no longer, one, trust the person, and two, respect the person. Because now I look at it like, really, like you're gonna like if you just told me straight up, like, look, this is what I did.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't, like, depending on the situation, right? Maybe I won't be your friend no more, right? But at least I'll have respect for you.
Yeah.
You know, like I can at least look at you and be like, I can respect you for at least but when you try lying and doing things like that, you no longer are respectable. You're not trustworthy. Like, you devalue yourself so much. Like it's I don't know. It's just not worth it. I don't know. Like, I just don't think, I don't like lying in general. Like, I hate when people lie to me, so I don't lie to people. But I just think in general, like, take accountability for your actions, and like think about it. Like, what's the return on that investment? Like giving a fuck about that. Like, okay, I made the mistake, and I gave so much of a fuck about trying to prove to everybody that it wasn't me, even though I knew it was. That like, now no one respects me, no one believes me, no one takes my word for not. No, now when I talk, people are like, come on, shut up. Like, I don't want to hear this. Or if not, they'll be like, oh yeah. Damn, that's crazy. Like you know that they're trying to be polite. They're just trying to be polite. Like, but what they're really saying is, F you, like, shut up. No one cares. Like, that's what you get from doing that. Whereas if you just took the accountability, people be like, you know what, I could still rock with you. You know, things like that. I don't know. It's just not worth it.
I don't know if it, like, this is just an old school thing, but, and I feel like we're along the same lines on this. Correct me if I'm wrong. At least for me, I'm still a big believer in, like, all you have is your word. Like, people don't, I feel like people don't believe that no more, but I swear, your word still fucking matters. Like,
if you tell somebody you're gonna do something and you do it, they will believe you every single time you say you're gonna do something, that you're gonna do it. But if you just say things to say it, no one's ever gonna take you serious. Like,
that's true.
Like, no one will ever. I don't know anybody who says, "Oh, I'm gonna do this, this, and this," doesn't do it, and then they do it. They do that 15 more times. And then on the 16th time, they tell the person magically believes them that it's going to... Like, no, until you do it, they're not going to believe you. So, like, if you're going to give your word to something, then do it. And that doesn't mean, like, you won't make mistakes. Like, there's some times where, like, I say, like, damn, yeah, I want to do this, this, and this. Or I'm going to do this and this. And then I haven't done it. And then I'm like, damn, like... But I've learned from it to not do that no more. Like, if anything, I'm going to do it, then say, like, oh, like, look what I did. Instead of just saying, like... this, and this. Or if I tell somebody, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this for you, then try to come through on it. Like, stick to my word. Like, I'm not, unless like it's something like, again, out of my control, then I'm gonna do everything I can to stick to my word, and I'm gonna stick to it. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's way more respectable. Like, and people just, it's just more beneficial for yourself too. Like, I don't know. Like Scarface says, the girls won't be able to relate to this, but like Scarface says, he's only got two things in this life: your word and your balls.
Amen.
That's it.
Amen. Fucking. There, wasn't expecting the Scarface quote. That shit just took my train of thought.
That's what he says in Scarface all the time.
Nah, fire movie. It's like, I think it's my number 4. Anyways, but all right, I got it back. There's something so important. Not even fuck other people for now, right? You know what? Let's take them out of the equation. Let's just focus on you, right? You, the viewer, just you, nobody else, not your mother, not your father, not your brother, not your sister, not your friends, nobody. When you say you're gonna do something and you do it, you like on the smallest scale, you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
That's why one of the first things like people will tell you to do to like start building your self-esteem is tell yourself you're gonna make your bed in the morning and make your fucking bed in the morning. And guess what? Do it again and again and now you're not gonna think about making your bed in the morning, but you're always gonna feel good because your bed is made. At least when it comes to that little scale. Now, this is the true reason behind why people feel so good about the gym. Besides, the physical benefits, but it's like it's such a challenging task. But if you tell yourself, you know what, I'm gonna go to the gym, 5 days a week, and you start going, you successfully go to the gym 5 days a week. After a month, you're like, yo, I killed the month. Oh my God, it's been 4 months already. You realize the task, you blew through it. You didn't even realize you were blowing through it because it started so small. And now that boosts your self-esteem. You're like, yo,
yeah,
I can do shit.
Yeah,
you start to feel better.
I like the example of the gym because I feel like I can relate to it with my personal life. I remember being, I think it was my freshman year of high school my freshman year of high school because I wasn't like working out or going to the gym or nothing. And I was like, I don't know, like 130 pounds at best at that time period. Mm-hmm. And I remember I told somebody, and the person probably doesn't remember it. It was a long time ago, but I always remembered it. Like I always remember telling people like, oh, give me 2 years, like give me by like junior, senior year, and I promise, like watch, I'm gonna be that person that's like fit with like the 6 packs and everything like that, all cut and everything. And when I said that, like at that time, I was just saying it to say it. Like I didn't really mean it. Mm-hmm. But then as time went on, I literally did just that. I became that person that went to the gym, got the 6-pack abs, and like got the body that I wanted. And ever since then, the gym has never been a struggle ever again. Like going, like I could like lose it, and I know in my head like yeah, I lost it, but all I gotta do is just go back to what I did before. Like I said, I'm good. Like I don't know, it created a whole different perspective and mindset. Like it created a win in my head that like now I know like I always got that win. Like I don't know, like I lost my train of thought.
You always have that that's like a building block of your, for lack of a better term, I'm gonna say your self-esteem.
Yeah.
Like the way you feel about yourself. You made that jump in 2 years when people were brushing it off. Yeah. So guess what? When it comes time to think about something that in 2 years people might brush off.
I got mine. So like to add into that, right? So I said that. I don't know if people remember it or not. I know I said it. I remember saying it myself. Mm-hmm. And I know how I felt when I actually did get it. Because like in the moment, I wasn't realizing it. It wasn't only until... Actually, when I realized it wasn't even in high school at that moment. It was... I want to say like... I realized this maybe like a year ago. And that's when like I had that sense of like happiness. Like, damn, yo, like I really said I was going to do it and I did it. And like I've always noticed ever since like high school, like I'm not the biggest guy. I'm not the most cut guy. I'm not I'm not the strongest person. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, when it comes to like fitness and like talking to people, for some reason they always listen to what I have to say.
You're the fitness guy.
Yeah, but like I never portray myself as the fitness guy or to know it all because I don't think I really know that much. But every time like I would talk to some people and like people that were interested in the conversation, like for some reason, you could tell like there's situations where like somebody else is talking, and they're just listening just to prove them wrong, or they're just listening to listen. But for some reason, no matter what I said, when I said it, people listened. And then I gave it thought. And I was like, man, I wonder if like subconsciously or like for me at least, is it because like I said I was going to do something, then I actually did it? And maybe people respect it now because I said I was going to do it. Mm-hmm. And they probably didn't take me serious when I said it. But because I did it, now they're like, oh no, he was serious about it. So like now if I have fitness, like people ask me fitness questions and I'm like, bro, you're asking the wrong guy. Like, I'm not a certified in personal training or nothing. I tell you what I think is the best answer based on my, like, what I know, but I don't think I know everything. So I'm like, out of all the people you could have hit up, why are you hitting me up? You know, like I'm trying to get like those people. Like you should be hitting those people up. But for some reason they like respect my word for it, and I think it's because I said I was gonna do it, and then I did it. And like in the moment I wasn't realizing why, but now like after like a year ago, literally is when it like clicked, and I was like, oh, damn, maybe this is why this has been playing out this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I said I was gonna do it, and I did it. So now people have always and it took me like I don't know, like 5-6 years to finally realize that. But
listen, as one of the people who hits you up as if you're like said trainers, I would say that definitely plays a part into it. Even if you don't see yourself as the biggest guy or anything like that, you've completed something that 9 in 10 people haven't.
Yeah.
You got past the hump of going to the gym successfully. You've put on, muscle. You've put on Greek statue over here. Like you've built yourself up. So for people who haven't, it's like you're the next level up. Mm-hmm. A personal trainer might be too far, but you're attainable. Like they've seen your success.
Yeah. So
it's admirable. Like, dude, I remember you pre-gym, and you now like.
Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy. Now I think about it, it makes sense. But that just goes to show, like, if you're gonna say you're gonna do something, come through. Like, always show up. Like, if you say you're gonna show up somewhere, show up.
Yeah.
Unless, like, again, something out of your control. But if you're gonna do something, then do it. And you brought up the good point, because I wasn't really thinking of it that way, but it's not so much for the other people, it's for yourself. Mm-hmm. Because if you say you're gonna do something and you do it, you prove to yourself that now you learn to believe in yourself. And once you believe in yourself, like fully really believe in yourself, you're unstoppable. Like you'll be able to accomplish anything you set your mind to because you believe in you. But if you keep telling yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it, then how would you ever do it if you're never believing in yourself? Like It's a way you're just proving yourself right for like not being able to do things. Whereas like if you say you're going to do it and then you did it, now you build that confidence and it keeps going. And then eventually you get to a point where it's just like, you're unstoppable now. Like there's nothing, like if you really believe it in your head, there's nothing anyone can say or do that will ever change your mind. Only you can be the person to change it.
Dude, that's bars. Listen, you have 2 voices in your head. And I like when you said to prove yourself right or wrong. You have 2 voices in your head. One voice is saying, let's do it. The other voice is saying, nah, you can't do it. You can't do it.
Yeah.
And you choose every single second of the day, you choose which one wins.
Yeah.
If you choose to, nah, I'm not going to go to the gym, I'm not going to be able to put on the muscle, like that's not achievable, or I'm not going to go talk to that girl, she's out of my league, or I'm not going to, apply for that job or whatever it is. You're choosing, that is a choice to let that, nah, you can't do it voice win. So guess what? When it comes time for the next thing you want to do, you're going to get hit with the, nah, you can't do it. But it's going to be just a little louder than it was before.
Yeah.
But if you flip the script and you do start going to the gym and you make even the slightest bit of progress, guess what? That, we can do that voice gets a little louder and a little louder.
Yeah, I just thought of another example. But, like, a good example for guys, at least, is, like, let's say you're out with your boys, right? You're partying, and you don't really get girls like that, whatever. But you tell your boys, oh, like that girl looks good. Like I'm gonna go get her number. How much you want to bet? If you've never been that guy, the majority of them are gonna go, okay, yeah, let's go. There's a joke to them. It's funny. Yeah. But if you go up to that girl, 1, they already respect you for going up. But 2, if you get her number, I promise you, they're gonna ask you for advice on girls at some point. Like, cause you're gonna show like, oh, you're gonna prove to yourself, oh, I can get this like pretty girls. They're girls that I think are pretty and attractive to me. So then you're going to feel more confident going up to more. And then your friends are going to see the ones that were clowning you for doing for trying it. And now they're going to ask you for serious advice. Like, yo, like, what should I do for this? And then after they're just clowning you, you're just like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, but that's how it is.
It's because when you choose to let your I can do it voice win, other people notice that.
Yeah.
Like, you know that motherfucker that can just talk to anybody, any girl, any guy, anybody, anywhere. You know that motherfucker that can just, I'm gonna do this and make it happen. Everybody respects that person secretly.
Yeah.
And some people are willing to give that person their flowers and be like, yo, bro, you killed it. Don't leave me hanging. Like, yo, bro, you killed it. Or just be like, you know, damn, I wish I could do that. But, you know, nah, like, oh, that was cool. And then just, like, stay back. But secretly, everybody respects that. Yeah. Even if they don't know it. Remember, jealousy is love and hate. You can't be jealous of somebody if they don't have something you want. Or something about them that you want.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, man, I don't know. It was a really good conversation. But just to wrap everything like all up together, it's just like with gratitude and happiness, I don't think there's gratitude without happiness.
True.
My personal belief, if you think otherwise, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear different perspectives. I'm open to changing my mind. So like, I don't want to be right all the time. I actually want to be wrong for the other reasons, so I can grow and learn and stop chasing happiness. Maybe focus more on finding peace and finding common ground with things in your life and just trying to control what you can control and letting the rest do what it's got to do. I keep fucking burping. And then, but yeah, you take it from there.
And no, just focus on understanding where your highs. Honestly, that's a good place to start. Understand where are your highs in your life, where are your low points, what's the medium. Yeah. If you're down bad right now, focus on getting to that medium. Focus on what's the next step up. Just how can I get to a sustainable point? And from there, once you work your way up, that's when we can be like, all right, let's move up even more. Like, let's improve this and that aspect of life. Yeah. Just, honestly, I think that's probably the best takeaway of this video is just focus on whether you're on your highs or on your lows. Just focus on how to get to that middle ground and work on what you can work on. Yeah.
Dan, there was a quote I was going to say and I forgot. I'm going to try to look it up real quick just to end the show with. It was a fire quote. I'm going to read it first just to make sure it's still fire because it was fire when I read it. But, yeah.
If you guys agree or disagree with anything we said, please comment down below. I look forward to debating with you guys. And I think you said something that's very powerful that I agree with. A lot of the things that I feel like we're similar on this, where we say it is in fact to be proven wrong. Yeah. Because if you prove me wrong or if you get proven wrong, it's like, guess what? We learned. All right, maybe this wasn't the right thing. Bam, growth. Even smarter now, even better.
I'm trying to find this quote, man.
Pressure.
It's from the movie Blow, if you've ever seen the movie Blow. It's what George Jung's father says to him. Oh, I think I found it. Nope, that's not it.
I'll take this time to say, fun fact about me, I'm so not a movie person.
I'm not too big of a movie person either, but if you've never watched Blow, I recommend it. Fire movie, based on a true story too.
I've seen like Scarface. And honestly, that's about it of like the real life.
The drug movies. Oh, there we go. I found it now. Is it still recording the camera? I got 50 seconds to say it. Okay. He says, sometimes you're flush and sometimes you're bust. And when you're up, it's never as good as it seems. And when you're down, you never think you'll be up again. But life goes on. I don't know. I like that quote.
I like that.
I think you could take a lot from it. And I think it's a good example of showing like, don't chase too much happiness. Don't chase too much sadness. Find that common ground. Because when you live on the extremes, you only get the extreme.
It's true.
That's it.
Whatever extreme you're on, you're going to get the opposite.
And with that being said, Lost Boyz out. Peace.